We are now less than 6 months away from the release of Scream 7, and for a lot of films out there, once you hit that less than 6 month mark, marketing is beginning to slowly ramp up, and it's how your boy was able to get some information on what we could possibly see for the first Scream 7 trailer. So that's exactly what I'll be doing here for you guys, is I'll be telling you what I heard about what's going to be happening in the Scream 7 trailer, mainly just sticking to that, and just like I've done with Scream 5 and Scream 6, I have no interest in completely ruining a Scream movie. That has been my policy since we've talked about 5 Cream, aka Scream 5, Scream 6, and it'll still be it with Scream 7. If I today found out who the killers were in this movie, not making a video, not talking about it, because even with all the controversies and things that I've hated that have happened with the Scream fandom lately, I would not want to pull a Richie and become a toxic fan. So I am only going to be discussing stuff that I heard is going to be in the trailer and will be marketed and common knowledge, because this is what they've decided to show the audience and the public as part of the marketing. Now again though, if you want to be completely surprised by what will happen in the Scream 7 trailer, maybe don't watch this video. But okay, kicking things off at the beginning of this trailer, from what I'm being told, it's going to open with what is essentially also going to be the opening scene for Scream 7. We're going to be following a couple played by Michelle Randolph and Jimmy Tatro that have already been announced and confirmed in the cast, who have rented out an Airbnb for the weekend. But this isn't just any Airbnb. This is Stu Macher's house. Apparently, it's been turned into an attraction, and that anybody out there can just rent and spend a weekend in that house. And even inside of it, there's said to be decorations and props. I'm assuming referencing the Stab movies, but maybe they're also referencing the real life murders, although I think that'd be very sick. Is there an Airbnb out there that actually does that, where you can stay in like Jeffrey Dahmer's old apartment and look at his stuff? That'd be crazy if that exists out there. And this is one of those scenes I was telling you that is actually leaked online. If you do want to find out more and how this scene actually ends, someone has already leaked it. I'm not going to be talking about that part of it. But from what is shown in the trailer, apparently they just go into the house, are excited to spend a little weekend here. They come across a ghost face mannequin, or possibly an animatronic. It scares one of them, thinking it's real, but then of course it's obviously not, kind of like what I got here. That's genuinely a fear I have every time I walk into my studio. Somebody's in that suit and I'm about to die. Not today. But then, of course, a real ghost face shows up, starts attacking them, and then it ends from there. So pausing there for a second and just going on to my fan speculation, I think that's an interesting opening. Usually these Scream openings have been really built up and hyped up. We expect something kind of mind-blowing, different, or inventive. From the sounds of it, it doesn't look like they're going the route of hiring like big celebrity actors like Drew Barrymore, or going with a giant shocking twist. I do think it's interesting to bring the Stu house as the opening. To me, I'm more interested on why the movie opens in this house in Woodsboro and what's seemingly a random couple that maybe isn't going to be connected. Who knows? I have no context about the actual movie, so maybe this couple is friends with Sidney Prescott, although don't know why they would do that if they're friends with Sidney. I think they would be kind of offended by this house. And based on things that we know about this movie, it's mainly going to take place in a town named Pine Grove, not Woodsboro. So also interesting that they start there. I'm curious how that's going to end up connecting and why Ghostface starts in Woodsboro but then ends up in Pine Grove with Sidney. From there, the trailer cuts to, of course, Sidney Prescott and the life she's currently living. We get to meet her daughter, played by Isabel May, who's named Tatum, and that's, of course, paying homage to her best friend Tatum, that was also the sister of Dewey. I actually think that is nice of Sidney to name her daughter after her dead friend. We also meet Tatum's friend group that consists of McKenna Grace and Celeste O'Connor. I'm told there's a big focus on Sidney Prescott being a mother and her family life. I'm still so shocked they ended up choosing Joel McHale to be the husband for Sidney Prescott, but whatever, getting past that, everything seems nice and well until Sidney Prescott gets a phone call. It's of course none other than Ghostface taunting and messing with her, and kind of like in Scream 2, Sidney believes it's just a prank call, it's someone messing with her.
Prank calls are a criminal offense prosecuted under Penal Code 653M.
She's probably had to deal with calls similar to this all her life that didn't end up actually being real ghost faces. But this ghost face really wants to prove to Sidney he's legit, he's real, and he decides to FaceTime Sidney Prescott. This is supposed to be the big jaw-dropping part of the trailer that I'm not surprised they're doing. Ghostface is there on FaceTime. He unmasks himself, and it turns out to be Matthew Lillard aka Stu Macher. Oh yeah, baby, I knew it. I knew from the second that they officially announced Matthew Lillard would be returning for Scream 7. Well, that means he's going to be part of the marketing. That's going to be the thing that hopefully outweighs the controversy and all the bad rap that Scream 7 has been happening. And it does feel like such a cheap, easy nostalgia trick, because I have been begging for Matthew Lillard Stu to come back into this franchise somehow, some way. I was a believer he was always alive, but to finally get my wish, all because they're trying so hard to make you forget about the controversy, it stings. It's like a monkey paw wish. I got what I wanted, but not in the right context. This is also where I'm being told Matthew Lillard narrates the rest of the trailer from here. So not a lot of Roger L. Jackson as the voice of Ghostface talking to Sidney. It's instead Matthew Lillard as Stu, just taunting the heck out of Sidney. And again, under different circumstances, man, I would be eating that up. Just, oh my God, Stu's finally back. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, because even the person who told me this information, they're not a geek who has been online reading all the rumors and reports like we have. They were so shocked and blown away by that reveal in the trailer, they didn't know it was happening. And some of you out there might now be thinking, why would they spoil that? Why would they show Stu already unmasked and everything? There's been tons of confirmations of returning Ghostface characters. Even Roman, played by Scott Foley, officially returning for this movie. It seemed pretty clear what they were going to do. It's not that Stu or Roman or any other Ghostface that might show up in this movie is actually alive and trying to haunt Sidney. It's that whoever Ghostface actually is most likely using AI or deepfake technology to pretend to be dead Ghostface. Now, that's my speculation. The trailer itself doesn't confirm that fan theory, but I'm assuming that's what they're doing. As much as the last Scream movies have been teasing maybe Stu's still alive out there,
TV that killed Stu Macher.
If you believe he's dead.
I think the movie will make it clear he's still dead, and whoever Ghostface is probably using some sort of advanced tech just to really mess with Sidney. Still, though, it was the perfect excuse to bring back Matthew Lillard and use him for all your marketing to sell some tickets. From there, the trailer starts to paint a picture of almost two movies happening at the same time. One where we get to focus on Sidney's daughter Tatum and her group of friends trying to solve this mystery of who Ghostface is, while then Sidney and Gale team up digging into their past, trying to figure out who Ghostface is. That's really the interesting part for me. Mainly, I think the Sidney and Gale part of it, because I kind of like the idea of them going, all right, Ghostface is back. If history has shown anything, it's usually someone from our past. So let's pull out that Rolodex and start looking at who could possibly be haunting us and for what reason. I really like the idea of Gale and Sidney working together, uncovering the mystery. I feel like the mystery aspect has been the thing kind of lacking in the last two Scream movies, although I really like those films a lot. I felt like they just didn't have that Wes Craven charm of like really making you guess, maybe it's that person, maybe it's this person, oh, maybe it's that. And from what I'm told, there are really two interesting shots in the trailer of Sidney and Gale. One of Sidney actually appearing on the Gale talk show, where she finally does an interview in public with Gale and just kind of talk about her life being tormented by different ghost faces. That I think is kind of surprising, because it feels like Sidney's usually opposed to doing that kind of stuff, but with how close maybe she's gotten with Gale and trusting her, it seems like she's okay with doing that now. But the one I really want to know about when this trailer comes out is there's a shot of Sidney and Gale going to an asylum to investigate a suspect or a lead that could be Ghostface. Oh, but I kind of see what they're doing there. Sidney and Gale going to an insane asylum to find out who Ghostface is. Like, just looking from the trailer, I'm gonna think, oh, Stu is alive, and he's been in an asylum hidden away all these years, and now he's come out to get his revenge. I totally see the movie doing that kind of angle and leading the audience that way, but I don't think that'll actually end up being the answer. But it is interesting to think that whoever is pulling the strings comes from an insane asylum. Like, is gonna be for a fun Ghostface. But again, that's just speculation from a trailer I haven't even seen. Other really cool shots and sequences that are gonna be shown in the trailer that are of quick flashes of action scenes with Ghostface. It looks like there's gonna be a couple of callback scenes because it looks like there's a Ghostface attack that happens in a high school theater auditorium. There's supposedly another callback to Scream 4, specifically the phone call with Kirby. Some of you might really remember that scene where it feels like Ghostface is in the room with Kirby and Jill, only to find out Ghostface is across the street in someone else's bedroom. It looks like we're gonna get a similar sequence to that with Tatum and her friends shown in the trailer. But probably the coolest, most intriguing shot is there's supposedly a sequence where Sidney Prescott is looking at cameras and footage of her house, and she is having to guide her own daughter to shoot at a ghost face she can't see. Now, they were kind of vague when they described that, so I think that could mean anything. To me, I picture then Sidney in a separate location, maybe looking at her Ring camera on her phone, and Tatum and Ghostface are at the house, and Sidney is there probably on speakerphone saying, Tatum, to your right, to your left, shoot there. Maybe Ghostface cut off all the lights, and I guess through night mode, Sidney can clearly see Ghostface trying to get her, and Tatum can't because she can't see in the dark, but is holding a gun and trying to aim at Ghostface. Like, okay, that seems like a pretty cool sequence. That could be kind of suspenseful. We also know that the Meeks twins are officially returning for this movie, Chad and Mindy. Although we don't know how much screen time or what their inclusion in the film will actually be, they will be shown in small sequences in the trailer, but not a whole lot. It was to the point that they didn't even tell me what they were doing in the trailer. They're just like, oh, they showed up. I couldn't tell you what they were doing. I know fans have theorized that maybe the twins are working for Gale at the news station in some sort of internship. That's the part I'm curious about, how they integrate them into the story, and if we could get any Sam or Tara updates, because I'd like to know that they're doing well in this universe. But the last big thing that my source lets me in on is that Ghostface does make it clear in the trailer he's not after Sidney, he's after Tatum. And again, I think that's interesting and kind of a curveball, because this whole Ghostface is using past killers, at least we assume, of like Stu, Roman, maybe other Ghostfaces to taunt Sidney, but his actual target is going after Tatum. In fact, the way they phrase it is that Stu is basically trying to kill Tatum again, the same way Stu was trying to kill Tatum in Scream 1. I kind of dig that full circle thing they're going for right there. So all in all, look, I'm 50-50. There are definitely things in this trailer that sound very exciting, and I'm just reading off what somebody else watched. It's going to be completely different when I actually see this trailer for myself. But there are parts of this trailer that are making me fear what I thought would happen with this movie, that it would super lean in to the nostalgic, the callbacks, the cheap, easy grabs, and I just don't want that to be Scream. It's supposed to be an inventive franchise. It's not fan service the movie, you know? So, hey, we'll see when it comes out. I have no idea when the trailer's dropping, but I'm assuming if people have now watched some of it, it's pretty close to being released. Definitely will do a breakdown when the actual trailer comes and see what actually was true, or if I just need to give up the scooping game. Source is just trying to embarrass me. Let me know your theories and thoughts on this Scream 7 trailer, what you can kind of connect and piece together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.